Hi, everybody. CohhCarnage here with another thoughts video, this time on Deliver Us Mars. Deliver Us Mars is a direct sequel to Deliver Us the Moon. So before you continue this thoughts video, keep in mind that if you do want to play this game, I would strongly recommend playing the Deliver Us the Moon game, which is in the same universe, features in some cases some of the same characters, and is a great game in its own regard. I played it. I have a playthrough on YouTube if you want to jump through it, but I do recommend playing it. It's a very cool experience, a very cool story, and it does lead directly into this one. Deliver Us Mars is essentially a cinematic walking simulator with light gameplay elements between major plot developments. It follows a dying Earth and the events and characters and people that lead to an attempt at survival. I don't want to get too much into it because I feel, especially if you're going to start with Deliver Us the Moon, that there is a lot of story that you'll get kind of exposed to as you move through them. So I'm going to keep it pretty much parked there in terms of talking about the story. But I will say this, the story, and especially in the second one, the voice acting and characters really make these games. The voice acting, especially in Deliver Us Mars, was phenomenal. The characters were interesting. They very much made you love and hate them in some cases. The worlds were pretty and fun to explore. The gameplay elements between the cinematic elements were mostly just fine. There's some puzzle elements that are pretty engaging. There's some very light kind of watch a screen, do this kind of things. There is an entire climbing mini game, which I had a little bit of trouble at the beginning kind of wrapping my head around, but towards the end of the game it became relatively intuitive. None of the gameplay elements stopped me to any degree. It was a pretty smooth flow throughout the whole thing. And overall, I definitely would prefer having that kind of stuff outside of just, what general walking simulators do, which just have you move from point A to D to C and kind of move through the story. So they did work. Some of them could use a little bit more of a push, but overall they were good. And here's the thing, most importantly, like any game of this type, the story and the cinematics and the elements that keep everything moving forward were absolutely worth everything in between them. So yeah. On that note, this game is like a AA game. I'd say kind of indie to AA. You're not going to get perfect facial animations. You're not going to get perfect graphics. This isn't a Horizon Forbidden West situation, but it absolutely is good enough to keep those like me who don't need all that stuff, fully immersed in the story, fully immersed in the game, which I think is really all you can ask for at the end of the day. So anyway, on that note, I did really enjoy my Deliver Us Mars playthrough. Not a game for everybody, but if you do really like to lean into big stories and big narratives, and I would also add narratives kind of with a message, this is a great game franchise to check out. Again, start with Deliver Us the Moon if you haven't, move to Deliver Us Mars, and hopefully maybe a Deliver Us the Earth later, which would be great, because I will say this, it's definitely the type of game to leave you wanting more. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope to see you on twitch.tv/CohhCarnage. Have a great rest of your day, and hope you enjoy the game as much as I did. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.